we're going to look at relocating and printing our graphs as we go along here. So I want to first of all have you take a look at what we have here so far. I've got got my worksheet up at the top here, and then within it I have two different graphs. I've got one graph that's pretty much just a cluster of the column bars there, and then I've got the stacked one over here. So pretty much they're both conveying the same data, just in a little bit different ways. Now, I want to put these charts or graphs, whatever, onto another sheet. All right. And the reason why I want to do that is I just want them off of here. I want them to be just completely separate, and I can then, and they'll be on their own sheets and reference them that way. So how do we do that? Well, if you click on to the first graph, all right, if you go up into the design tab here, we have something here called move chart. Now you click onto that, and it says, okay, what do you want to do? Well, right now it's currently an object within our volcanic sales sheet here, right? I want to put that instead onto its own sheet. All right, so when I click onto there, I could even give it a name. I can call it whatever I want to call it, just like that, all right? Hit OK, and now it gets removed. There's the new sheet, and there's the name I gave, that goofy name, and then you've got this, all right? And then I'll go back to volcanic sales, go a little bit further down, there's my other graph. I can click onto that, go back up into design, or what I can do is I can also just do a right click on the graph, and I've got a choice there called move chart. So I click onto that, and I tell it that I want that to go onto this other sheet. All right, here we'll do this. We'll call that one Maui. All right, so hit OK on that, and there we go. All right, so now we've got our original data, which is right there. Then we got the Maui, and then we've got the blah, whatever that is. All right. So that's how you move them around. Now, again, I don't really have a good reason for you wanting to do this. I'm the type that likes to see all my charts on the same page or the same sheet as my data is. That's what I like. But if for some reason you want to kind of off ramp it a little bit and have it on its own area, then you can do what we just did there. Now, let's say you did this. It's on its own sheet. Let's say you want to bring it back and put it back into volcanic sales. What do you do there? Well, while you're on it, we can go back up into design. We can click on to move chart. Tell it we want to go back into being an object in, and we can go and pick volcanic sales. That's the one with the numbers in it. So there it is. Hit OK. That sheet gets erased. There's the new, there's the graph that came from it. We can move that over there, make it a little bit wider. There we go. Bring it down a little bit. All right. And we can go back over to Maui, all right, and do the same thing there. Now, in this one, we can just do a right click on it, move chart, and we want to put it back into volcanic sales. Hit OK on that, brings it right back, and then I can take that one, move it down below the other one, and go ahead and make that wider. All right, so there we go. I'm trying to be perfect here, right? Whatever. Okay, so that's it. So that's how you move them around. All right. You can also, if you were looking to do maybe a PowerPoint slide with this, you could actually, just click onto the graph, all right, and put it into the PowerPoint. Now, the way I would do that, if you want to take a look at this, is I'll launch PowerPoint. So let me get that going. All right, then once I've done that, I'll go ahead and click on to just a blank presentation here. Okay, so got that. I'll change my layout, just be a title only here. All right, so I can take that. Now I can go back to my graph. All right, so there it is. So I'll take that, I'll do a right click on it, I'll hit copy, okay, and then I can go back to PowerPoint, just click somewhere on here, do a right click, and I can paste it in there. Now, I can paste it as a picture, perfect, that's great, it'll look just like that. Or what I can do is go over here and do a paste special, all right, and paste it as a link, all right. So do that, hit OK, and now it comes in exactly the same way. But now what I can do with this is I can resize this, reposition it, whatever. Maybe bring it a little bit like that. There we go. Okay, so there it is. So the beauty of this now is later on, if I go and change the information on the graph, it'll automatically update here. If you don't want that to happen, then you could have just pasted it in as a picture, and that would have been, let me just show you real quick, I'll delete this one. You can just go in there and you can click on to, just do a right click here and just paste it as a picture, and there you go. And that will just be just a snapshot. Doesn't matter what happens, it'll change. Or I'm sorry, it doesn't matter what happens, on the worksheet that updates the graph, it will not change here. All right, so that's about it. Didn't really want to get into too much with the PowerPoint there, but I'm just giving you some ideas as far as, you put this stuff together. What do you do with it? I mean, I can keep it in Excel, or I can use it elsewhere. I can put it here. I can put it in Microsoft Word. I can even do an email. I can do a new email and put the picture in there. You give me an idea there. Let me just close this one up. So I can create a new email message. There it is, right? And then I can just go ahead and in the body here, just do a right click. And then I can go ahead and paste it as a picture. And there's the picture. I can click onto it, resize it, make it a little bit smaller if I need to. There we go. You can send this off on its way to whoever. There you go. What a great little treasure there, huh? All right, so that's about it. So hopefully you got some good ideas here as far as that goes. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead. I'll get rid of this. All right. So now the other thing I want to take a look at here is that once you've put together maybe a few graphs and you've got them all nicely laid out on your worksheet here underneath the numbers, now you might want to print this out. Now, if your thought is that you don't really want to print everything out here, you just want to maybe print out one or both of your graphs here, how would you do that? Well, first of all, keep in mind that if you have selected onto a particular graph and tell it that you want to go print, it will assume that all you want to do is print out the selected graph. So whether you have this one selected or this one here, when you go to print it, it will just bring up this. So I'll give you an example here. Let's say you want to print out just this, right? So we'll click onto that. We'll go back into File, right? We'll go down to Print, all right? There we go, and that's it. And it comes up in Landscape, just because it's pretty wide there, it does that automatically. But you can go in here and you can maybe change the margins, make them really narrow, and that'll make it a little bit bigger. But there's not much more you can do to make this any bigger because you're kind of limited with the page here. You'd go in here and you might go back and change your printer to whatever printer you have that you want to use, right? So if you want to use this printer here, there we go. That's it. That's how it's going to look on a printed page. All right, so we'll go back and hit print. So I'm going to just go hit back here, get back in there. Now, let's say instead now you want to maybe print, so I'm going to just back up one. So remember, because a lot of people do this accidentally, if you've got this selected like that, expecting that you're going to be able to print out your worksheet of numbers as well, it's not going to let you do that. So in order to make it so where you print out the numbers, print out everything that's on the sheet, what you have to do is click away from any of the graphs. So you can be somewhere here, you can be out here somewhere, it doesn't really matter, just as long as you're not here, okay? So I'll just click here, all right? So I want to print that. I want to print out the two graphs on a single sheet of paper, all right? So we go ahead and we click on to File, we go down to Print, all right? And there it is. Now you'll notice that it's a little bit cut off here. If you look down below here, it'll say page 1 of 2. So if I go now to page 2, there's the second half. And that's going to be pretty tight, all right? Now, I don't want to print it like this. I don't want to print it on 2 sheets of paper. I want it on 1, all right? So the first thing I'm going to do is change the orientation. Now, right now it's set for portrait where it's straight up, 8.5 by 11, all right? If I go back in there and change that orientation now to maybe landscape, I might get a little bit more on there, but still, it's still tight. But I think I still want to go with this, for the orientation. Now, the other thing I might try to do is maybe go to the custom margins and set the margins to be very narrow. You can do something like that. That'll bring in a little bit more. But the one that really makes it happen is down here where it says no scaling. Okay, so if you click onto that, all right, you're going to see a number of different choices. Fit sheet on one page, which means fit the columns and the rows all in one page. That would be the way to go. If we were just to go with fit the columns on one page, then it will fit it that way. Oh, and it did fit in there. It fit pretty good. So that worked, all right, as well. But normally, if that didn't work, then you'd go in here and you'd say, okay, I want to print it just, oh, I'm sorry, wrong one there. I want to print it where the columns and the rows all fit. It already did that with this one, but I'm just going to still do this one here. And there it is. It fit perfect. All right. So what it had to do, though, it had to squeeze it down a little bit percentage-wise. If you want to get an idea of what that is, you can always go down to where it says page setup. All right. And you'll see in the scaling area that it adjusted it down to 77%. So it's basically about 23% smaller, okay? That means that your 10-point font ends up looking like maybe a 7-point font and pictures and all that. So that's how that works. But still, I think it's a reasonable size there, all right? Few things with printing as well. Aside from that, if you want to be able to see the grid lines that we have in here, what you can do is you can go here to page setup, go over into the sheet tab here, and tell that you want the grid lines to print. So you do grid lines, hit OK, and now you'll get your grid lines. Whether you want that or not, that's totally up to you. If for some reason you have trouble with it being centered, horizontally on the page here, I don't think we have any trouble here, but we can check anyway. You can actually go to page setup, go to your margins, and tell it that you want to horizontally fix it. So if you click onto that, you'll see how the little picture goes there. But now if I hit OK, it moved a smudge. It hardly did anything, all right? If you want it to be centered between the top and bottom, you can go back in there again and change it to vertically as well, hit OK, and it'll pull it down a little bit. That might look pretty good. Usually I'm not much for that. I like it more at the top, but it's up to you how you want to do that. Then, of course, after you got done with all this, then you can go ahead and hit print, and off it would go. So that's how that works. All right, so hopefully this helped you with those little things. That's, printing is it's kind of a tricky thing sometimes, so you have to kind of watch that. I've got a whole thing on printing in the I think it's in the second module of training videos for Excel. You'll see all kinds of printing situations in case you want to learn a bit more about that as well. All right, so this is good. Appreciate you watching the video, and hopefully it helps you. Take care.